So Adam, welcome to Life in Six Strings. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. So I know you were saying you've got allergies at the moment.
Yeah, it's the summer in England, isn't it? So lots of pollen.
Yes, well, welcome back. Because I guess you've been on a bit of a tour. So you've been touring around. You split your time between LA and Derby, you were saying.
Yeah.
But you're in London right now in a hotel room.
Yeah. So me and Luke in the band, we were writing yesterday with a friend of ours, who we wrote with years ago, like songs that could have been me and Kiss This with. So yeah, we'll just stay down here for a night and then back up to Derby today and then off to Amsterdam tomorrow, I think. So
It's all back to normal, isn't it? It's like back to running around like a nutter.
Yeah, and it was like, I remember like in COVID, I was like, I can't wait to be on a plane again. And now I dread the thought of being on a plane again.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, isn't it? It's really crazy. So who are you writing with?
A guy called Josh Wilkinson.
Okay.
Who, we've worked with loads. He's just like he's like one of my best mates. So came with some ideas, and we'll see where it goes. We're gonna work with him later on in the month as well. So he's a producer too. So
okay, cool. So it's exciting for you guys as a band because you've just signed to Big Machine, which. When I heard that you'd signed to Big Machine, I was like, oh, that's interesting, because obviously Big Machine known for being more of a country label. I know they'd been branching out a little bit like recently and stuff. Yeah. So you're obviously the more rockier end for them.
Yeah, they've kind of set up a rock label, like rock side of it, because it's like us, Bad Flower, Aaron Jones, Starcrawler. I can't remember who else is on it, but so it's cool. Just kind of did our time within the scope and felt like we were in need of a fresh bit of enthusiasm. So we kind of parted amicably and stuff like that. And then when Scott said he wanted to sign us, it was like, okay, cool, let's go there then.
I think it's great. I think it sounds fantastic to be on that label. I'd love to be on that label if I was an artist. So you've signed to the new label, you're back touring. You had the album out, Strange Days, in 2020. I'm guessing there's a new record coming because you said you're writing as well. So what's the deal there?
There is one coming at some point. We're not finished it yet. Definitely got some. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but definitely got a song coming out very soon. So that'll be fun finally because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Time's flown by, but it'll be 2 years in October since released Strange Days. So, definitely due for some new music. But definitely got an album coming out. When it will come out, I don't know. But we just thought we'd just get some music out anyway. So we'll be releasing the song in the next couple of months. Just working on it. We just spent like 3 months in Nashville writing and recording, and we'll see what happens. But new music coming soon.
Tom Morello is one of my favorite guitarists. I just love, it's so experimental and just what he does with the instrument, he takes it to a whole new level. What was it like for you as a guitarist working with him?
Well, the sad thing is, it was one of those jobs of him sent in the parts.
Okay, yeah.
But I've written with him before, to be fair. We went to his house and it was for it was actually for the Top Gun movie. I just realised that's just come out. We didn't get the song, but we were writing a song for that. And he was great, and he's so nice. And he played with us in Nashville at a show. Came on stage and we did Dancing in the Dark by Springsteen with him. And,
oh my God.
But he's just lovely. I bumped into him a few times, and he's just awesome and a really, really lovely guy. And seeing it. I remember we were in his house. He's got his huge pedal board, and he was recording some stuff for the song, and I was just like, wow! Like getting to see it that close up was pretty cool.
Did you have a dabble? Did he let you go on his guitar? And
no, I didn't even ask. I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm too shy. I'm just like, hello.
Fair enough, fair enough. So let's take you back to the beginning then. Let's, because obviously I started playing guitar 18 months ago when we all had nothing else to do. It was something that I've always wanted to do. So I kind of, I just kind of want to chat to other guitarists to sort of see how their journey started and stuff, and sort of how their passion has driven them to do what they do. So tell me about you and how you got started, and kind of what was the catalyst to make you pick up that guitar?
Mine was just I was into like Michael Jackson and stuff as a kid, like his music, and then it was and like there's always like the Beatles, and like my dad was obsessed with the Beatles, and he'd always, like when they went to school and stuff like that, it was in the car, it would be either like John Lennon or the Beatles with my dad, or like 60s music, because my dad's in his 70s, so he's he's from that era. And then but it was only until like when I was 13, and it was I saw Green Day on the TV. It was the Minority music video. It was at my mate's house, and it was just one of those light bulb moments, and I was just like, that's what I want to do. And I said to my mate Rowan, who was in my old band, and I was just like, let's start a band. He's like, we can't play anything. I was like, we'll learn. And then I started playing bass because I thought that might be easier. Then I didn't get on with it. So my dad bought me one of those like Fender Squier Strat amp combo things. Yeah. And and then I just went on mxtabs.com, and I was just learning Green Day songs, because they're just power chord songs, so it's like it makes you feel like you're a rock star when you're 13, because I can play When I Come Around, and it's like, oh, I can do it. And then it just kind of led to like writing songs, and I was obsessed with Green Day for like 3 years, and then I never really liked all the music I listened to. Like when I was a kid, it was like, there was the Beatles and like Oasis in the house and in the car and stuff. But it was like, oh, it's my parents' music, I don't like it. And then I remember, I don't know why I went and bought Definitely Maybe and What's the Story More and Glory CDs from HMV. And I don't know why I bought them, because I was like, anyway, I remember just listening to Definitely Maybe, in particular the song Supersonic, and I was like, oh my God, like I found another love. It was like, because it was only Green Day, and then it was like, oh, now I've got this, and it was now I just got obsessed. And then it was like, who are they influenced by? And it was like, oh, the Beatles and Slade. And then I kind of T-Rex, and kind of just went down that whole rabbit hole. And then my mum was like, I remember her playing me like Mott the Hoople and stuff like a few years before, and I was showing her like Roll Away the Stone, and she's like, I told you about this band years ago, you didn't like it. I said, well, I like it now. And that was kind of it. And then I met Luke around when I was like 17, and then we started the Struts essentially. But then I'd only really been because of Green Day, so that was like my bread and butter. So I only really could play power chords even then, and there was enough for me to write songs. And then I was like, oh shit, now I've actually got to be a proper guitar player. So when I was like 17, 18, I just taught myself the whole thing, really. And you
never had any lessons or anything?
No. I mean, I think I should have, because like I see these kids now that are like 19, and they're just like blown, like smoking the guitars, and I was like, shit, maybe I should have. But then it was just like, it was that kind of time. So when was this? This was like 2009, and then 2010, and then I think YouTube was just kind of starting, and people were doing like guitar lessons online.
Yeah, so we're lucky. We're lucky in that sense. If you think back to all the guy, the heroes that you were just talking about, they had to get a book and learn in a book, didn't they?
Yeah, no. Yeah, so yeah, then just kind of did YouTube, and then it was like, because I just got obsessed with other bands, and then it was like Queen and stuff like that, and I just go on YouTube videos and I just like watch what their fingers were doing, and I just kind of steal it and copy it, and so kind of, and now, and honestly, like I look at videos from like 7 years ago or like 6 years ago on YouTube of us playing, and I'm like, shit, I'm like so much better than now than I was then.
That's interesting that you notice how much better you got. But I guess it's because really the way you started playing is more kind of the punk rock way, isn't it? It's like I can play 3 chords and I'm on that stage, I'm off. I'm just going to do it. Like, whereas most people, like you say, these guys that are doing all this kind of more virtuoso stuff, they're in their bedroom playing, learning and doing all this crazy stuff before they even get on a stage. So maybe your way is, in a way, I think it's better. You just get out there and play with other musicians.
Yeah, actually that was when I started really learning, because I had a friend called Tim Ridgway, who was from like Nottingham, and me and Luke used to play, like, before we had the rest of the band, it was just the two of us and we'd be writing songs, and then we'd play in my local pub in Shardlow in Derby, and I'd play with Tim and my cousin Tom and Luke and then Simon, the drummer, and we'd play covers. And then Tim would just be like, right, do a solo. And I was like, I don't even know how. Like, and then he was like, well, learn. And I was like, shit. So then we played there like once a week, sometimes 2-3 times a week. And we were playing like all classic rock stuff like Stones and AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and, you know, all bluesy kind of stuff, and it was just like, oh, okay. So I was like, shit, now I've got to learn what a pentatonic scale is and all this. So, and it was because I had to be thrown in the deep end. It's like you have to swim, really, don't you? So I learned so much so fast then. Over that was like, we did it for like a year and a half, I think. So yeah,
that's interesting though, because it's kind of like, for me, I look at those, you know, you guys are all playing these amazing solos and I just go, oh my God, like that is so far away from what I can do. I find it frustrating and almost to the point where it sort of hinders me. Whereas it's like, actually just go for rhythm to start off with before you even think about doing a solo, I guess.
Yeah, and it's like what I've learned. It's like if you're not good at rhythm, then you're not good at solos, because it's like you got for the longest time I used to try. Oh, I got to play as fast as I can. It's like it's great, but like that's not even in time. It's like it's just a noise, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's not always about playing so fast. And yeah, it's like you say. Like as soon as I could play some chords, it was like I was playing shows when I was 13, like with my band, and that was great because it's just. And being able to write songs too, because like you only need a few chords and
you're off. Sorry, there's building work going on next door. Can you hear that?
No, I can't hear it. No.
Okay, good. That's good. Let's hope that it's not being picked up. But so that's kind of how you got started, which I love, that kind of DIY punk rock approach. And So then you're like out there, you're playing stuff. And so what about your guitars? Because I was looking online at some of the stuff that you play. Have you got anything with you now?
I don't at the moment, no.
Are you one of these guitarists that all like usually has a guitar with them and you're noodling and stuff like that? Or do you tend to, when you're not in, musician mode, you just leave it alone?
It depends. It's like, when I'm on tour, I'm noodling in the dressing room pretty much all the time. But then when I'm in hotels and stuff, like the guitars will stay in the boat on the truck, whatever. So I don't really have access to them. I don't really I should do. I was thinking about it. And it's like, I could be playing in the hotel rooms, but I don't know. Sometimes I'll go days without picking it up when I'm at home because it's like you kind of get sick of like just playing all the time, and then it's like, okay, now I want to go home, and I'm in LA. It's like I'm on holiday because it's like I'm just not used to like hot weather all the time. So I just kind of chill out a bit and try and disconnect. And we're doing a lot of writing, and then if we're not writing, we're playing or on a plane and traveling. So it's just like sometimes you need to just learn when to just take a break. But no, like I'm usually playing a lot, and it's usually not plugged in, so you get that really annoying twangy lead playing on an unplugged electric guitar, which everyone hates.
Oh my God, that's funny. But okay, so guitars, your weapon of choice. Talk me through them. What have you got? So what was the, maybe we start with the guitar that was the first sort of real guitar you had that you go, oh my God, this sounds amazing. This is something that's going to make me be a better player.
The first like proper guitar was Gibson Les Paul Special, a black one with like 2 P90s, and that's because I love Green Day, and it was like I wanted like a Les Paul, and then I couldn't get a Junior, so I got a Les Paul Special. So yeah, that was my first one, and I played that for years. To be fair, I still got it, but I got sick when we were touring in the US because then I got a Junior, and then when we were touring in the US, a lot of the small clubs we were playing. P90s are just so loud because of the lights and like just the feedback, and I just got sick of like trying to. And like, sometimes I had to play a gig like with my guitar facing a certain way, so I wasn't like.
Hey.
So I got a Les Paul with like humbuckers in like 6 years ago, which is a custom shop one, 59, which I pretty much played every single gig since I bought it. So, and that's kind of like my main go-to.
Is this? I've seen this one. Is this the Mike McCready one?
Yeah.
So this is what basically you didn't know who he was when you got it. So how did you get the guitar? How did that come about?
I know I felt awful, and I went to a Chicago Music Exchange because I know the owner Andrew. Quite well. We became good mates, and I basically told him, I said, I really want a Les Paul. I was like, can I play some? And then he gave me like 10 of them and put me in a room with an amp, and I went through them all, and that was my favorite. And I didn't know how much any of them were. He was like, that's the most expensive. I was like, of course it is. But I loved it, and I thought, sod it. So I bought it, and like great investment because it's now worth a shit ton of money, but I'll never sell it. But and I played it every gig, and I played it on every album since too. So and it said McCready on it. So who's McCready?
Right. If you're never into Pearl Jam, then I guess why would you?
Exactly.
He's not one of those guitarists that. He's not like a Slash. He doesn't have an image or So he's kind of like he's just a hard-working guitarist, isn't he? That's sort of in the background a little bit.
Yeah. Well, grungy and stuff. Yeah, I still don't know. I don't even know any Pearl Jam songs.
Oh my God, they're my top 5. They are in my top 5. I can't believe it. You should definitely go and check out some Pearl Jam if you haven't.
No, I don't. What I've heard is it's just not my cup of tea, and I was like, yeah. Maybe you know what? After this, I'll go listen to it on Spotify.
They're playing London. They're doing London actually Friday and Saturday. If you haven't,
the Hyde Park thing. Yeah.
But so can I ask, or is this rude to ask? I'm not sure if it's if you're allowed to ask this stuff. But how much did you pay for the Les Paul then?
I don't know if I am allowed to say really, because he gave me a really sweet deal. Let's just put it that way. But it was on for $8,000, and I didn't pay $8,000.
You didn't pay $8,000. Yeah, that's a lot of money for a guitar, but it's kind of do you have a lot of guitars, or do you only have a handful? I had a bunch of shit, and then I sold a lot of it, and kind of. I think I was going over looks over than actually, like I'd go in, this guitar looks amazing, and I'd go play it, and I'd always kind of think, I don't know if I do love it, but I bought it anyway, and then I ended up selling it. So I just kind of goes on, all right, I'm only buying shit that I 100% know I'm going to love and play, because it's when you're on stage, you can just feel the difference. And like I bought this 61 Les Paul SG, like 3 pickup one from 60 Sounds here in London, and it's a great guitar, and all had the PAFs and everything, but I just couldn't get on with it. The neck was that slim taper neck on this early 60s, and I didn't like it, so I sold it, and then I bought a 1960 Les Paul Junior. But it's like early 60s, so it's got that 59 like baseball back neck, and that's like my favorite guitar at the moment. And then I got another Junior, a 58 like Sunburst Junior, which I love. I got a TV Yellow Junior that's like one of the, that's quite rare, isn't it? The TV Yellow.
Well, it's one of the Murphy Lab ones, the newer ones. It wasn't. Okay. It's not an original. I literally got that a couple of days ago. I am a bit of an addict. It's like I live on Reverb, just looking at guitars.
I've just discovered Reverb, actually. I'm going traveling, so I've just bought myself a little Taylor, a baby Taylor.
Oh, they're great. Yeah. I got one of those. Yeah. What else have we got? Oh, I've got this cool blue 335. It's like a blueberry kind of color, which is really nice. Yeah, there's only like 2 of them I think they've made, the Murphy Lab ones. And then I've got a couple of Struts.
Didn't Smear give you a guitar or something for your 30th?
Oh my god, yeah, he did, yeah.
There we go.
Yes. I was walking my dog and I was on the phone to him talking about guitars. And then he's like,
as you do.
Yeah, I know. And he was telling me about this. He wanted to get a white, the same one I was going to buy, the white SG, the 61. And then he was like, I was like, I've always wanted a black one because I've got one. I don't like it. I was like, do you want to trade it for something? So I don't really have anything I want to trade. Like I like all of them. Like I don't really, there's not one I didn't love. And then on my 30th birthday, he rang me and just said, hey, you know that guitar? I was like, yeah. He goes, it's yours. Happy birthday. And I was like, oh my God, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, it's a present to you. And yeah, so it's like a custom shop black SG with 3 pickups and then like a vibrola thing. And it's great. The neck on it is sweet. And yeah, I love it. It's great.
That's special as well because you've got a story with it. And I think that's great as well, isn't it? When you have
what a lovely gesture. Like really, really lovely. And he's sweet. He's like an uncle to me almost. Like he calls me up every now and again and we talk about music and what's going on with the band and stuff. So
you must have had some, pretty cool moments like playing with the Foos, and you've played with the Stones and Queen and Guns N' Roses and all of that stuff. Is there one moment throughout your career that you felt like that was the kind of the moment that changed it all?
Well, there's a couple of things. Like when we played with the Stones for the first time, it was a really dark time for the band, and we knew we were going to get dropped in the UK. This was like 2014. And, the gig actually with the Stones wasn't great either because like the sound was really bad on stage, and then they cut our sound off like halfway through the last song. But we met them and stuff, and they were lovely. But it was after that there's a photo of me on stage from that show. And we left our management because we had different ideas of what we wanted to do with the band. Then we knew we were getting dropped as well. So it was like, right, this is kind of sink or swim time. And because of that little photo, this management got in touch with me and we started talking. And then we ended up signing with them, and then we ended up signing with Interscope. So it was kind of like that sliding doors moment, because it was either that or we probably would have broken up because we had no money. Like we're all living back at our parents' houses. And yeah, so that was a big moment. And then another moment was probably when we met Dave Grohl for the first time. He came to a show we did in Washington, D.C., like 5 minutes before we go on stage. Like, it was a bang at the door, and I was dressing him door and opened it. It's like Dave Grohl. I was like, he's like, hey, I'm Dave. And I was like, shit. And he's like, Taylor, bless him, like told us to come and see you. So he watched the whole show, and then we kind of hung out backstage for a few hours, just having some beers. And I remember going to the toilet and I was just looking in the mirror and I was like, is this happening? Like, am I hanging out with Dave Grohl? Like, at my gig? And then after that, we ended up going on tour with him. He asked us on tour. So, and then, went on tour with him for like a whole year. So very lucky. And that was, great for us. And great experience.
Do you think that, like, as all you guys moving to America, do you think that's kind of helped your career? Is it like, because I guess, are you bigger there than you are here? How do you think?
Definitely.
Really?
Yeah. Like, we couldn't fill a phone box in England, like, before we went to America. And then our song, because don't get any radio play here. Like, for whatever reason, Radio 1 just doesn't want to play us. So, if you're not on Radio 1 here, it's pretty tough to kind of get anywhere. Like, Reading and Leeds and Glastonbury, they're all full of people that are on Radio 1. So No, we got our song Could Have Been Me got played, got on this thing called On the Verge with iHeartRadio. So every alternative station had to play the song. So then we booked a tour, and the whole tour sold out straight away, and went over and, kind of just stayed there because, all our success has been there really. And it's kind of filtered over here because of that, and then we never go on tour next week in England, which is great. Like now it's kind of all right. We got play Shepherd's Bush and like Rock City and that.
Yeah.
But no, most of it, like most of our success has been in the US, and then we've gone to like Japan and Australia and bits of Europe too. And Italy's been another huge country that really dug us. So
okay, interesting. I mean, for me, the Strange Days is definitely your best record. I think it's an incredible.
Oh wow! Oh, thank you.
And I saw you live. I liked you guys before, but then when I saw you live, that was definitely the turning point for me. It was like, holy crap, like you are an incredible live band. There's so much energy. I mean, Luke is just a phenomenal frontman for sure. I mean, what do you think that on Strange Days, because I know you recorded it different, you recorded it more as like a live band. Do you think that, is that the way you're going to go forward with that? And was that kind of your approach with it as well, to kind of, because you have this incredible live show, you wanted to try and capture that on record, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, like, I don't think it was really...
Not a conscious decision.
The whole album was just kind of, it was never meant to be an album. It was like, okay, it was like April of 2020, so like COVID was like rampant. And it was a time when we didn't really know much about it. So we all got tested and went to John Levine, the producer's house, and then we're like, oh, let's just do a couple of songs for the fans. And then it was like, we wrote the whole thing in like 6 days. And because it was like, I just went with a load of riffs and Luke had a book full of lyrics. So they just kind of wrote themselves. And then, it was like, oh shit, we've got a whole album here. And then it was like, well, the way we've been playing, because we set it up like the drums, we were all recording, and it just sounded really good. So we was like, well, no point fucking re-recording everything. It's just like the demos kind of became glorified, like the masters. And it was cool because it was something we'd never done before. The four of us and the producer, we all kind of, it was all of us together, and it was all done so quickly. Barely any overdubs, and like pretty much I can't really listen to it now because a lot of it I'm just like, oh, it's so shoddy. Like I kind of, the first take was kind of just left it at that, and it's like improvised. So it's like I only wrote a couple of. I think I wrote the solo on Can't Sleep, and that's it. The rest of it's just me making it up.
That's what, to me, that's a good record. that is capturing it live, isn't it? Sometimes there's albums that are super slick, which are great. Okay, fine, that's what they are. But for me, the ones that I really love are the ones that are, for want of a better way of saying it, a little bit sloppy, because it's musicians doing what they do. It's working their magic. I mean, you look at Jimmy Page, he's got this controlled slop with his playing, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
There's a few. Keith Richards, I guess, is a bit like that as well. But
I always love that solo on Sympathy for the Devil because it's kind of like, feels like it's about to derail at any time. And that's kind of how I approach this album, really. Just kind of, I guess the Americans would say, like, fly by the seat of your pants. We're just kind of, just going for it. But no, like, I think there's a happy medium between like the first two albums and Strange Days for a sound that we want to go for. I think it's a little bit too live, and it would be nice to still have that kind of, energy, but just with a little bit slicker production. I think that's kind of what we're going for now.
Okay.